Hey everybody, Stuart Macadam here, and today's interview is going to be big. We have Huyen Truong here on the channel. Now, Huyen is known as the Queen of Cosmetic Marketing. Over the course of her career, which spans more than 10 years, she has dominated the field of marketing for cosmetic and plastic surgeons, working in SEO, paid ads, and a lot of different marketing disciplines. She started her first company, Result Driven SEO, and later decided to specialize with online marketing for doctors. And I've worked with Huyen on several occasions, and I'm super excited to have the chance to sit down and speak with her today. So, Huyen, let's get started.
Thank you very much, Stuart, for your kind introduction and having me on your show. Yeah, so a little bit about me. So obviously my name is Huyen Truong, and I'm a Vietnamese migrant to Australia over 10 years ago. And now I'm leading a team of 16 digital marketers, helping doctors, surgeons generate new patients using our 7-step patient generation system.
Awesome, Huyen. So, thinking as an agency owner, having a plastic or cosmetic surgeon, just one, would be like very valuable.
Yeah.
How have you distinguished yourself from other marketing agencies, especially like direct competitors whose sole focus is also helping surgeons and specialists get more clients?
Actually, that's a very good question. We often look at what they do and see what else can we do better. I always have this mentality that if you want to be in the top 1% in your field, you have to do what other 99% are not prepared to do. Okay, so so first of all, we focus on patient generation, and we have two main channels, which is Google Ads and SEO. And why other agency can do many more, such as branding, referral marketing, or even social media, and we just want to focus on what we can do best in terms of generating new patients for our clients, and try not to spread our resources to many different channels that don't directly help generate new patients. Secondly, we always look at best agencies out there, not just the ones in our own sector, but also, the most successful agency in Australia and the world, and to see what can we do to match them, right? So that's why we're willing to invest resources in creating exceptional content to help our target audience, and want to position ourselves as a go-to resource for patient generation. So as you can see, we have YouTube channel, podcast channel, a lot of published books and webinars. And when comparing ourselves with our direct competitors via digital person, that from the first look, if you look at our website and other similar competitors out there, our prospects usually say that we look heaps better, much more professional. We provide so much more valuable content to our audience than our competitors would do.
Awesome. Are you familiar with like King Kong marketing?
Yeah.
Are they someone
So
that you get ideas and inspiration from?
yeah, I think I known them for a while now. And actually, when I started the content production, I actually, didn't have a chance to look at what they were doing back then, because I started content production even before they started out. And I used to look at, Marie Forleo, or, like a very famous, Facebook marketer. I think Amy Porterfield, all these US American based authors and agency, and look at the type of content they're producing. So that's something we get inspired. Obviously, King Kong is one of the best, like in terms of general marketing agency out there. We definitely get inspired by them. Yeah.
Cool. What are some of the biggest algorithm changes that you've noticed, like particularly on Facebook and Instagram, that you've seen, and how has it affected your clients' sort of results and the work that you do for them on Facebook and Instagram in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think the most painful changes to Facebook ads performance were caused by the big Apple move earlier this year, when they were updating their devices to iOS 14.
Mm-hmm.
So this update has limited Facebook ability to receive and process conversion events from tools like the Facebook Pixel, for example. So in a sense, any business that optimize targets and reports on web conversion events have been affected, including us. So as we mainly optimize based on web conversion, this made optimizing and measuring Facebook and campaigns more difficult for us. And in some cases, the updated policy have led to increased advertising costs and under-reported conversions.
Mm. Yeah, that's quite interesting you bring that up because I've I was quite fascinated with that as the changes were occurring and noticed that the big difference that occurred was just the statistical modeling, which overrepresented, like, inquiry bookings or sales and purchases. The big things that some of the top marketers are doing is like creating like an API integration, which feeds the information that goes from a website back into
Mm.
Facebook. And it seems to
Mm.
be that thing that is growing in popularity now, and even using like AI tracking.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay,
Hmm.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a massive challenge that I guess you face as a marketer in the industry, and which is you're not allowed to advertise testimonials,
Mm.
which for many other people would be a really big thing. And
Mm-mm.
tell us, how does it impact the way in which you remarket your clients to people? Does it push you more towards converting people, I guess, at the top of the funnel, or does it create an opportunity for you to think a little differently when you're looking at remarketing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Obviously, not being able to advertise testimonials is a big drawback for us. There still are the offers that we can successfully use at the bottom of the funnel, such as free consultations or reduced consultation fee, and also useful resources such as ebooks and quizzes work well for us in the mid funnel, which is the in evaluation stage. So when it comes to Facebook advertising, I think we tend to promote content a lot. So we use it as the pretty much like the way to build trust and engagement with prospects. And once they keep seeing us all the time on social media with very visual content and engaging content, that's more likely for them to get interested into seeing what we have to offer. So that's an ongoing ongoing task that we have to do in terms of Facebook and Instagram advertising in order to boost engagement and conversion through that. So it's a longer game than it used to be.
Hmm.
Before it was so much easier, but now it's just taking more work in terms of putting out there all these great content and videos and ebooks and stuff like that to engage with prospects.
Awesome. If you were to recommend one thing for a cosmetic or plastic surgeon who's just opened up a practice and they're looking to
Mm.
advertise or do marketing on Facebook and Instagram, what advice would you give them? Would you tell them to do like a content calendar or a page likes campaign or create a
Yeah.
video for awareness? What would you recommend?
Well, I mean, like, especially when starting out, there's a lot of things you have to cover. And you can be so confused as to what I should be doing to get started and to get traction quickly. So usually with a new business, I would recommend them to have a professional website, because even though people are nowadays on social medias and all sort of different channels and stuff, email, SMS, but when it comes to checking you out, like, I mean, checking you out, I mean, check out your who you are and what you got to offer and your previous work example. Having a professional website will help them establish some confidence in prospects and establish you as like an expert in the certain areas that you want to be known for. And that's why a lot of people, like a practice is starting out, think, oh, maybe I just have a simple Wix or what is that, like a square, some
Squarespace?
Squarespace website, and that will do the work. And I think that having a little bit of content here and there, but that also that things is linked to perceived, um, perceive, or what I say, perceive value of your practice. So if you don't have a professional presence is when it comes to website, and people will look at that and say their perception or perceived value of your practice will not be as high as you want.
Mm,
Because, when it comes to the decision to choosing any practices, it comes to equation between perceived benefits minus treatment cost and perceived value equal perceived value. So if you want to, and to convert more prospect, you need to increase the perceived benefit or perceived value of your practice, and having a professional website presence is definitely a foundation. I would call it a hub of all these digital marketing activities that you're going to do later on. So don't try to save some money, just a couple of $1,000s, and just spend proper dollars to build a professional best website out there to represent your practice, and therefore you can create such a good impression on your prospects, and therefore it will be easier for you to convert any prospect into bookings and potential patients. I think the type of contents that will create a lot of engagement would be videos, and I like video, and I think video is a great way for clinics or doctors, surgeons to connect with their prospect visually, and they can see his personality, and just engage with him so much more. Even
mm,
they get to see him or her in person, and then promote this video aggressively on social media, on YouTube, everywhere. And usually most of the medical procedure decision starts with the research. And if you
mm.
manage to offer high quality content to prospect at the research stage, then you quickly gain credibility and increase your chances to convert them to patients. When it comes to medical marketing, it's all about building trust with prospects. So I think that's something that we have. It's not something that it happens overnight. You got to work on your digital presence, all these media mention reviews, making sure that they spot on. So obviously, that's something that is needs a lot of work for our clients to get to that point. But you got to start somewhere, right? That's I bring it back to my previous point, like having a solid professional digital presence will be the first starting point that you should be doing when you start out. With your clinic.
Mm. How do you keep up to date with all the Facebook conditions on advertising for medical procedures and products and offerings and stuff? Because that's obviously something which is in a rather strict field,
Mm,
kind of like the not being able to use testimonials and the
mm,
advertising for other specialists. How do you keep up to date with all of that? Have you got like a place that you go to, or is it sort of just picking it up in the news feeds
mm.
here and there?
Yeah. There's so many changes happening over the last few years, especially when it comes to medical marketing. So the I think I can. We usually have a list of things that we have to follow. Like we usually put in our agency a standard procedure, so for our team to follow, and we list out the list of words that we can't use in marketing for medical marketing. So, for example, words like PRP, or the absolute best, terms like we are the top or the best, all these
Mm,
sensitive terms like that. And we sometimes we actually force to write ad copies in a way that do not directly imply personal attributes of the viewer, which is quite challenging.
yeah.
Creating a few versions of the ad copies, eventually we come up with the one that gets accepted by Facebook, for example. We'll avoid direct questions such as, are you tired of the stubborn fat, or do you suffer from skin pigmentation? This implies personal attributes, which is prohibited by Facebook. And we would rather turn this into more neutral and positive statements such as get a tone and tighter body, or achieve a refreshed and youthful skin, for example. And even when it comes to selecting images or video for the ads. We have to be extremely careful as well, because we have to pay attention the amount of clothing, skin exposure, focus on specific body
Mm.
parts in order to comply with the Facebook policy. And obviously, we continuously check with Facebook policy, and even Google as well. That will allow us to keep us up to date with any changes and adapt to them.
Yeah. Do you find that with the breakdown on different pay-per-click advertising, whether it's Facebook or Google, do you find Google Ads suits a certain purpose better than Facebook?
Definitely, I usually when clients ask as well, if I have this much money, where should I spend? I always ask them, what do you want to get out of this money? Do you want to get more inquiries or booking, or you want to build brand awareness or engagement with your existing patient and build up your, digital presence online? And if we can clarify that sort of goals and purposes of the campaign, that will be easier for us to recommend to our client. Okay, if you really want to generate new patient right now, and that's your key point, and then spend money on Google Ads, because that's where people have stronger intent when it comes to a particular procedure or treatment, because they know that they have a need already. They have a strong need. They just need to look for more information about the procedure, and they just need to gather information to make a selection of the top 2 or 3 service provider for them to consider, for their treatment or procedure. But when it comes to Facebook ad, I think, or Instagram ad, it's best for remarketing purpose. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
And market to the website audience. Obviously, once they visit the website, 90%, I think up to 95% of the website visitors don't do anything. They just have a look and they leave your website, right?
Mm.
So this is a huge lost opportunity if we don't tap into this and remarket to them, follow them on social media via Facebook and Instagram ads, and to continuously engage with this audience, right?
Mm.
Because they might not make decision today, but they have your name, like, in their head. So later on, when they consider, okay, if they want to have a liposuction, these are the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. So I think Facebook and Instagram ads still play quite an important role in terms of nurturing the leads or the prospects, and continuously communicate with them until they are ready to take the next step, which is to make a consultation and make an inquiry.
Awesome. Yeah, because that's a very big thing that I think is getting more and more advanced, and like that's why the iOS 14 changes threw such a spanner in the works, because I think many people, particularly in industries which are more high ticket like cosmetic and plastic surgery, were
Mm,
starting to get the hang of the touch points which they needed to have for capturing someone and getting them in as a book consultation or getting them to book in for the surgery. And then
mm,
all of a sudden, wham, like they are presented with this iOS changes, and that completely changed the game on how they
mm,
were approaching everything. Do you find there's like a particular period where you've remarketed to somebody, you've given it your best shot, and then you realize that maybe that person just isn't ready yet, or they've gone with
mm.
someone else, but you still think it might be worth advertising or marketing to them in some way? Is there any way that you try to keep people's attention by having them maybe join a mailing list, or having them
Mm.
get download an ebook or something of value after a
Yeah.
set period of time?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I know a client of mine who used to have a Facebook page that has, I think he said, up to 1 million followers on Facebook page. And now with the latest algorithm updates, they don't get to engage with his followers as much as it used to be anymore. So anything on social media are not yours until these followers join your email list. Okay, so regardless how many followers you are, if they're just followers and they're not joining your email list, it's not yours. Facebook and Google can take it away from you anytime. So as a marketer, it's very critical to get all these followers and join your team or join your database, because that's how you can continuously engage with them regardless of what's happening with Facebook, Google's algorithm updates. And that will be officially yours. So that will be something that you call it digital assets later on. If you want to sell your practice or sell your business, that's something you can present to potential buyer. This is the database I have. I have like 5,000 active patients. They're very engaged with my newsletter. That's something that definitely the potential buyer will look into that and appreciate that you actually spend effort into building up your database and let them, utilize that database later when they take over the business.
Yeah. So the next question is around, I guess, what are some of the things that you like really do enjoy about your role doing like digital marketing for surgeons and cosmetic and plastic surgeons?
Mm. Oh, first of all, I enjoy working with doctors and surgeons personally, because I like this group of people. They're professional, they're hardworking people, and they appreciate the work that we're doing, probably better than any other niches that I've been working with, because I know that they know that success doesn't happen overnight, and they understand that, for example, SEO technically, probably better. They try to understand, they try to learn about that. So this is a group of target audience I really enjoy working with, and there's a lot of growth in business. More and more practices are aware of the importance of having a professional online presence.
Awesome. What are some of the challenges?
Well, there's so many challenges, right? Like, especially when it comes to running a digital marketing agency, which is a service-based business. And as you probably know, running a service-based business, like managing a lot of moving puzzles. So, and the areas that are more challenging, probably constant changes from Google and Facebook that limit our abilities to reach our target audience, for our clients. That's probably, I think, the yeah and also more and more competition as well, because more people want to do advertising. That's why the cost per click keep going up, and how we can keep the cost per acquisition reasonable for our clients. That's another challenge as well, because as you know, the cost of advertising has been increasing regularly. So that will be a really quite challenging task to keep the CPA, the cost per acquisition,
Yeah.
low enough. Yeah.
One question that I did have, which is on top of what's already been asked, is how do you set goals when you sit down with a client, and what do you evaluate before when you set those goals?
So usually I ask them where they are at the time being right now. So let's say how many consultations they have per week or per month, and how many of them have been converted to actual bookings for procedural treatments. And then, okay, so what do they want? Like, if they want to have, let's say they have 20 procedure per month right now, and their goal is to increase it to 40, for example, so double number of bookings for procedures per month. And then, okay, if you want to double the number of bookings per month, this is what you need to do. And we evaluate what they have been doing so far, and based on the current budgets, and propose a new budgets that help them achieve their goals.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And final question, where can people find out more about the work that you do?
I think it's best to go on our website. So we're publishing new videos and podcasts every month, and we're publishing books as well. So there's a lot of like useful resources for medical professionals to take and to learn from that, because this is the accumulation of years of experience, and also from other clinics that I've been working with as well. So definitely a go-to resources for all medical professionals if they want to grow and scale their practice faster.